Putting an aquarium in position, we want to be very careful about where you're positioning it. Want to make sure there's plenty of room off the back in case you need to run pipes. Make sure you're happy with the tank on the stand. And the most important thing is to make sure it's level. So with the plumbing for these Aqua One Aquareefs, what's happening is the water is going to go down here. Now this one is connected to a short pipe. So what you want to do is have this tap totally open. Then this one is your emergency drain. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill the tank up, then you're going to fill the sump up, then you're going to turn the pump on. When you turn the pump on, the pump's going to blow the water up. It's going to make the water in the tank go up, then it's going to go down through the weir, and it's going to come down the bottom here. Now, when you first turn these units on, the plumbing is going to make a little bit of sound, and that's normal. But over time, as the bacteria lines the pipe and as the friction decreases, and then the plumbing will get quieter. But the other thing you can do is you can just dial this back a bit, then wait an hour or so, see if it makes a difference. Dial this back a bit, wait an hour or so, see if it makes a difference, and then you'll find a magical spot where it just seems to be really quiet. And there will be quite a few variables for where that spot will be, very much governed by things like the flow on the pump. So if you just slowly tighten that, and then if you go too far, you'll see all the water starts coming out this one. And if the sound isn't right, then you just open that tap right up again and go again. So you just take your time to make it quiet. You open the tap right up, all the water will be coming out of this one. Then if you close it off too much, all the water will be coming out of that one. And in the middle there, you should find yourself a nice quiet spot, and it'll be a little bit of fine tuning. And then once you've done that, you often never have to worry about it again. Then we've got the heaters. Now here we've got the filter socks. So the water's going to go over into the filter socks. Whenever you see them getting a bit dirty every week or so, pull them out, turn them inside out, give them a clean under the tap. And if you want these to last longer, you can actually put polyfilter in them, and the polyfilter will cling all the particles and take them out of solution. Now there's room here for a skimmer if you want to go saltwater, and there's room here for heaps more biomedia. So this is already a lot of biomedia, a marine pure block. But if you were going to have heaps and heaps of fish, then by all means you could get extra biomedia because there's heaps and heaps of room in here. Then the water goes over into this section, and that's where your return pump is for blowing the water back up. Now, the only thing that you need to know is that you never want to fill up your tank when your pump is on. Because when the pump is on, if you fill this up too much, when you turn the pump off, the water from the top has to go back down to the bottom again, so we don't ever want that to overflow. So the only way that would overflow is if you fill it up too much when it's on. So you'll end up having an on level, which is normally about here. You want it just running nicely here. And then when you turn it off, this water will raise because it will need to accept the water from the top. When you're doing an aquarium, it's really great to wash the gravel. I'm being brave today and not washing it because I found that this Aquarel gravel lately has been fully cleaned. Okay. So I'm very happy with that. The most important product is the prime. So this is a water ager. And this needs to go every single time new water goes into the aquarium, and that's going to get rid of chlorines and chloramones and various bad stuff out of the water. Now, this one is your lake salts. Because this is going to be a cichlid tank, we want a high amount of minerals in the water and salts. So when you bring a water sample to the shop, we can test your GH level, and if we tell you your GH is too low, you can add extra of this. If we tell you your GH is too high, don't worry about it. But next time you do a water change, don't add more of this, because this one will tend to build up in the aquarium. And you do not use this for top-up water, because this doesn't leave the aquarium unless you do a water change. This one, on the other hand, is for raising the KH and pH. This will tend to fall over time. So if you come down to the shop and we say your pH or KH is too low, then we'll suggest you use extra of this. If it's too high, then generally don't worry about it too much because the cichlids like it alkaline anyway. But that just means you probably won't need to use it next water change. Now this one is the stability, and the stability is the good bacteria. It's much better to put the stability in the fridge. Once you've opened it, it will last longer. Once the aquarium is full, and once the water starts going down to the bottom, then we want to fill the sump. Now we're going to fill the sump up relatively high, knowing that when we turn the pump on, the sump level is going to go down. But in saying that, we never want to fill the tank up when the sump is running. And if we do, we really only want the sump level about here. Now, if you do find that you're having to add water too much, you can actually get an optional top-up system that can then utilize that back area for filling up the sump as well. And that would allow you to last longer without having to top the sump up. Inside every pump in here and any pumps in the actual aquarium, there's going to be impellers. So every year or so, it's a good idea just to pull the impellers out and give them a clean. You really mainly have to worry about it if the pump loses its flow. So the heaters are usually set for 25 degrees, which is I'm usually pretty happy with. But if you need to turn them up or down, you can. The lights on the heaters will only turn on when the heater is on, and the heater should only turn the light on if the temperature is below what it's set for. Typically we run these tanks at about 25 degrees, but for various reasons you may want to run it anything up to 28. Now, the heaters cannot make the water cool. If you have a super hot house and your temperature is running too high, then your option is to just get a clip-on fan and blow across the surface of the sump or the tank. That will help drop the temperature if need be. But because we're going for African cichlids right now, chances are you're not going to have to worry about that at all because they're tough as hell. Now, we've got wave maker there and wave maker there. Now, the aim of the wave maker is to agitate the surface. So we want to turn them on, and we want that agitating the surface, and we want these agitating the surface because we want the top of the tank agitating. And that's how we get oxygen in the water, by breaking the surface. What we do not want is flat water, because flat water creates high surface tension, and high surface tension means the gas does not exchange. So therefore your fish are going to be in trouble. You must have the surface agitated. Now, over a period of time, if your plants start looking a bit how you're going, the best thing to do is chuck them in the sun for a day, then flip them over, leave them in the sun for a day, because the sun will bleach the algae really effectively. Then hit it with a hose and you'll find that they look really good again. But do consider that the plants are a little bit disposable, because over a number of years they do tend to not look as nice. So just chuck in, replace them every now and then. It keeps it interesting for you. Also with your rocks, if your rocks get algae on them and you don't like the look of them, it never hurts to cycle them out and put something new in for a while. Or just go throw them in the sun, wait a day or so, flip them over, wait a day or so, hit them with a hose, they'll look beautiful again. And because this is going to be a cichlid tank, you should be able to put plecostomus catfish, you should be able to put various sharks, you should be able to put Siamese algae eaters, and various fish that will actually help you control the algae. Now, this aquarium doesn't have a lid. Now, there are various mesh lids available, which can stop your fish jumping out. And if you're going to run this sort of like it's a super modern style, but just be aware that the odd fish may end up in the floor. Now, over time, it's going to be normal to get a bit of algae growth on this aquarium, and the amount of algae growth is completely relative to how much you're feeding, what you're feeding, and how often your lights are on. More light is more algae. But I would really recommend getting a Flipper Max. I love them. They're just like a razor-bladed magnet, and they make your job really, really easy to keep it nice and clean.